People, deluded, I'm back again. Good evening, and I hope you're all well and safe. Forgive me for the background noise. Now, me, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not in a good mood because I did this video this morning, went to upload it. I see the files are thingy, the files are what's the word? Corrupted. It is what it is. We move forward. It's an inconvenience, especially with what's going on in society right now. I can't really complain about a corrupted MP4 file essentially. So yeah, man, I hope you're well and safe, according to what time zone you are. Good morning, good evening, good night, whatever in it. But moving forward, there's not much to speak about in relation to Arsenal. 90% of it is the same old recycled rumours. El Nene, for example, apparently the latest is that he's owed money by Besiktas, and that could throw him signing there permanently into dispute. Ryan Fraser and Willian are still linked with us. AC Milan have been linked with Maitland-Niles. The typical stuff is still going on and going on and whatnot. Before I crack on, I'd like to first and foremost send my condolences to our young centre-half, William Saliba. It's been revealed courtesy of David Ornstein. Currently, he's going through a family bereavement. And it's sad a lot of people are losing family members at this day and age because of what's going on. I don't know. I don't want to speculate because it's disrespectful as to who it is. But considering the progress he's made, obviously in a short period of time, he's certified himself to a degree in world football. This was his second season for Saint Etienne. He had a final to look forward to. Obviously, Corona put a stop to that. He's played in big derby games and he's moving to Arsenal. I'm sure a lot of his family members are proud of him, and they're in a better place and they'll still be watching from afar. But in terms of the human element, he's lost a family member. So whoever it is, condolences, because I've been dealing with death in my family as long as I can remember. I remember the first funeral I went to at 6 years of age, my auntie, and since then it's almost like losing one every year, really. So I wouldn't say you get numb to death and it gets better, but in time you learn to accept it, and you learn to accept that they'll always be here and things like that. And death is sad, man. It's a reality. We're all gonna face the music one day. We're all gonna be on a funeral leaflet with our life. So from start to finish, live your life and make sure you live a fulfilled life and you leave a legacy that last forever. And I'm sure Saliba's going to go on and do that. So like I said, my condolences. Moving forward in relation to the transfer speculation, people, according to reports in Spain, we've been linked with Seville's centre-half, Diego Carlos. Now, I'm not watching him religiously, but from what I've seen, he's a fairly tenacious defender. He's fairly composed on the ball. He looks decent. I haven't watched him enough to really make an informed opinion, but I'm sure he's been a decent performer this year. Obviously, it's easy for us to be linked with players playing in La Liga. You've got Raul Sanye, who's obviously of Spanish nationality. So is Arteta. They're always going to have one eye to La Liga. Obviously, we've just brought in Dani Ceballos from such. So, every league we should be looking at, but you could imagine why this would be linked to us. So I don't know if it's anything more than just speculation, but it is what it is. David Ornstein also said Arsenal are willing to listen to offers for Rob Holding, Sokratis, and maybe Mustafi. Don't understand the maybe bit for Mustafi, because Mustafi, out of all three of them, probably needs to be one of the first to go. I say that because he's 28. I can't imagine any of the other defenders, apart from Holding, to be fair, we'll get onto him, commanding a decent fee. Allegedly, we've tried to sell him at every window so far in recent years. This could probably be the best chance, because you're looking at it now. If clubs were turning up their nose against him, they're probably looking at it like he finally looks like the defender close to what Arsenal thought they were getting when they signed him from Valencia. Obviously, Arsenal are in no position to recoup costs because he's got a year left, so there's a fire sale of sorts. So there is scope to obviously let him go. And obviously he's on fairly decent wages. And at 28, I'm sure he wants to sign another deal, because at 28, you don't really want speculation. I'm sure he wants to get a 3, maybe 4-year deal, tie him into his early 30s. And that, you can't rule that out happening at Arsenal, in fact, because one thing that goes for him is it's well speculated. We want a centre-half. We want to sign a defender. But if the market goes against us because of what's at play, we might deem Mustafi is granted an extended stay. And he might sit there and say, yo, listen, I've gone from, the whole social media things I used to get from fans, from being scared to play, to one of the better performances under Arteta. Maybe I can keep being important in his plans. Maybe next season it could be more of the same. Maybe I could even earn another contract here. He might think that, or he thinks, all right, cool. If we do want to sell him and whatnot, and that's not a thing, he might think because of the climate, I'm not going to get a move to a team I want to move to, so I'll stay and sit on my hands for a year. To which you can't really begrudge him for doing such. And if he stays, he stays. I can, especially if we can't get a centre half, I could see him staying really and truly, people, because I do think between Mustafi leaving and Marie potentially being made permanent, I do think we need an experienced centre half, because it's all well and listen. I'm not gonna lie. I think Mustafi's form's been good, but if you ask me a year from now if it will still be the same, I can't tell you with confidence. I want Saliba to get game time and things like that, and these young defenders. But we need some experienced men. So maybe Mustafi is sold. In relation to Holding, next season he's got to get football. For me, like Bellerin, I'm a big fan of Holding. Let's not forget he had these. He's still incredibly naive as a defender. He's not kicked on as much as we thought in a couple of seasons. He's not progressed on. Even when he was fit, there were certain things out of his game where, for me, you've been in the top level long enough, you shouldn't be doing it. I do think there's a player in there, man. I do think Arteta likes him, but again, there is someone that could raise funds there. At the end of the day, he was signed for £2 million. If you sell him for 20 odd, you've made a decent profit. Include a sell-on clause, he might go on to become an England international and certify himself. And Arsenal might look stupid, but there's profit there. There's also the scope to send him out on loan for a season. You know, let him, now that he's fully fit of sort, go somewhere where you're going to play week in, week out. And we look at your situation, because for a centre-half, he's only 24 and he's got 3 years left on his deal. So we do need to keep one eye open on renewing his deal, but there is a player there. But I couldn't begrudge Arteta if we wanted to sell him. But I like Bellerin. I'd like to see him when he's fully fit, because I think there's a player in Holding. You can't forget the FA Cup final and whatnot. I'm not here to say he's world-class and things like that. I just think he can be in the squad and offer us something really and truly. But I couldn't begrudge if he's sold. I couldn't be begrudged against Arteta if he's sold, if he's loaned out, or if he's kept really and truly. In relation to Sokratis is probably the unfortunate casualty. Now, Sokratis has said he won't stay at any club as long as he's, you know, if he believes he's training and deserves to play first team football. And, you know, it was unfair to, you know, injury and the resurgence of Mustafi. It was unfair really for Sokratis to lose his place. So he might be the one to go. It's like, I do have to ask you lot, do you lot think Mustafi would have been able to play and show his form if the injury didn't happen to Sokratis at a point in Callum Chambers? So fate happens, innit? Like, Rashford might not be a Manchester United and England international if, you know, injuries weren't happening and Van Gaal didn't give him the chance and he elected for someone else. You've got to take opportunities where they come, sort of thing. So it's nothing against him. But decisions have to be made at centre-half, because listen, quality and quantity is two different things. Now, you know, if Luiz is the only experienced centre-half left, then obviously fans need to accept there might be games if we go with a Saliba and a Holding, or this new centre-half that I want that's probably on the younger side. I want a centre-half in general. You have to accept there's going to be games where they're just getting hoodwinked and outsmarted by experienced strikers and whatnot. Fans, especially with Saliba, fans need to be prepared for mistakes, especially in the Prem. That's probably why I would probably make Marie signing permanent. I think it's permanent in all but name, in my honest opinion. But then looking at it, there's a lot of centre-halves on the books. For me, as a manager, I would like 4 centre-halves, 5 maximum. And looking at it, Luiz is going to sign a new deal and probably deserves to stay. In fact, probably he does deserve to stay. So he's been granted extended stay, right? Marie's probably going to be made permanent. Saliba's coming next year. I want a new centre-half. So technically, we might as well say that's 3 new defensive options for us to start a campaign with. So immediately that's 4, right, people? I've almost forgotten who I said. So I said Holding, right? I said Holding. I said Luiz. I said Marie. I said a new defender. For me personally, again, today I've seen that he's back in light training, so we don't know when he's back. But I think Callum Chambers could be given given a chance and whatnot. Arteta was using him before his injury. Again, he's someone, due to being English, due to, you know, raising funds, could potentially be sold, but these who I'd go with. Then obviously you have to factor in Mavropanos, who's potentially going out on loan or probably should go out on loan. There's other things to consider, people. It's a techie one at centre-half, man, but that's probably one area we really need to address, because it's Arsenal. It seems like every year we sign the centre-half, and me as a fan and most other fans, we're sitting here and still talking about signing the centre-half. Surely there's something wrong that we're doing in that regards, if that is the case. I don't think because of the dynamics, I don't think we have the money, but same way we spent 70-odd million on Pepe, it would be nice to spend a decent amount on a centre-half and just have full confidence in the defence, really, and give Arteta decent personnel to work with. Because you see Arteta, it's not perfect yet. Arteta will make mistakes, but unlike Emery, you can immediately see a structure. You can immediately say, it's as white and black as immediately saying, yeah, if Arteta gets this midfield, if he gets a centre-half, if he gets this and that, you see what he wants to do on the pitch. And, you know, Arteta, he can only go as far as his tools take him. He's using the tools to the best of his ability, but there's only so far he can go, sort of thing. Moving to Le 10 Sport, though, and they've linked us with Coutinho. They've gone as far as to say Mikel Arteta dreams of signing Coutinho and Arsenal have made arrangements to start discussions with Kaya Jarupkin. It's a complex deal for Arsenal because the player would be very expensive. Now, that puts me to several things. I mean, it's easy to link Coutinho with us. His future is uncertain. Munich not keeping him permanently. I don't think I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's a quality player. I think he should even be given a chance at Barcelona. If I was him, I'd more want to go back to trying to fight for a place at Barcelona under a new gaffer than come to Arsenal in the Europa League. No disrespect to us, sort of thing. But you can't really see it happening. Obviously, it's easy to link us with him. The player wants away. He's been offered around Europe, clearly. Barca want to recoup funds. You've seen Dembele, 37 million in the Daily Mail. Don't believe that. But, it doesn't matter if it's Dembele, who else? Arthur, Vidal, Sergio Roberto, Semedo, Umtiti. There's bare man linked with moves away at Barca, for whatever reason. So because of the fact of who his agent is and who his agent supports, easy to and his strong ties with Raul Sanllehi dating back before Raul Sanllehi became any part of Arsenal Football Club, it's easy to link that. Beyond the loan, I can't see it happening. Beyond the loan, where we have to probably subsidise a lot of his wages, which would still prove expensive, and also pay a loan fee, which would still prove expensive. Either way, if I was, I'll be looking at the board a bit sideways, because obviously Coutinho within measures would probably have to take a wage cut as well. But if you bring in Coutinho in some capacity, from any of the players that have taken a cut, I'm looking at the team a bit sideways and saying, I thought we didn't have fees, but you're bringing in a marquee Brazilian international. As fans, we should get gas. Players should get gassed as well. But I'd sit there and go, and obviously whether Aubameyang's staying or not is for another video in all honesty, but really and truly, can you really paint a picture, people? We don't really know the true health of our club, but Aubameyang signing a new contract, bringing in Coutinho on paying some sort of wages. You still have Lacazette and Collagen that you are contracted until 2022, so decisions need to be made. You've still got El Nene, you've still got Mkhitaryan on the wage books. You've still, it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really make sense, really and truly, seeing it happen, really. I think one thing going against Coutinho is obviously if it was just on ability, there's not many teams he couldn't go and be a part of. I'm sure many teams would take him. But if you look at the top teams that he's been linked with, or the top teams around, it seems that they have other priorities. Like, he could go back to Italy. He's been linked with Juventus. It seems like they have other priorities. PSG, it seems like they have other priorities. Bayern Munich, I'm sure they would have taken him, but they probably looked at it for the fee that they probably agreed or been quoted by Barca. They thought, yeah, he's a quality player, but he's 28. We want to get I can't say his name, Kai Havertz, and also Sane. They might think, it's better to spend money on that sort of thing. He's been linked with United. United have just bought Bruno Fernandes. And obviously, if Pogba stays, Coutinho will give them another option. And it's also important to remember, Coutinho can play on the left-hand side, but do you get it? Other priorities. Allegedly, he was offered to Chelsea. Now, admittedly, Chelsea and Arsenal, and Spurs, I don't see how he doesn't get into these teams. But I have to assume other priorities, or it's not financially worth it. The same goes for Spurs and potentially for Arsenal as well. So that's one thing going against him, really. And I do think Coutinho can play Champions League football. I'm not saying he doesn't want to come. I'm not saying he does. Liverpool as well. They could make a case for actually Coutinho could walk back in that team, but they seem to have other priorities, and that ship has sailed. So beyond the loan, I can't see us moving for Coutinho, really and truly. It doesn't make much sense. Of course, I would welcome it. I think we need two centre midfielders. I think one like Partey and potentially someone that can play in the middle of sorts like Coutinho, who can break the lines, who can dribble, he looks to make things happen. But is it unrealistic? I mean, I guess you could make the case of bringing him on loan, depending on how much wages were supplemented and a wage fee, and also obviously signing Partey. Admittedly, I do, as much as I think they're both of equal importance, I would more want to bring in Partey. Obviously, what Coutinho does is more likely to win games, but I believe in building your house from the foundations up. And I don't think the foundations have been strong enough at this club. And I think with Arteta and someone that recognises the need to go back to basics, there's a chance to right these wrongs. There's no point being able, like I've seen when we was in a tiny better health, when Arsenal could score a whole heap of goals, but come 68th minute, everybody's caught high up the field. So I think there's a time to not only improve how we defend from the strikers to and start attacks from our goalie, because our goalie is our first line of attack, our defence is our strikers. There's a chance to change our outlook and better it. And I think I would just have confidence as a fan, seeing Arteta improve us defensively, tactically, seeing him, be able to put out a back four of genuine quality like Saliba and Luiz of sorts, or next man coming in, Tierney if fit, Bellerin seeing what he's on next year. Leno's half decent in goal. That's a decent defence for me. You bring in Partey, box to box, you can put a foot in, you know, in a 3-man midfield. You know, Xhaka's likely to play that sixth role. And then you could have a Coutinho or someone playing that centre mid creative whole sort of position sort of thing, people. So at a push, I would more go for Partey. I would love Coutinho. On ability, you know, you can't turn down Coutinho. But I can't see it happening beyond the obvious. And I mean, we have been in discussions allegedly based on this Le 10 Sport report with his agent, but we need to remember his agent is also Willian's agent, another man who's been linked with us and spoken of giving a 3-year deal. For me, for Willian, that's smart. He stays in London. He's 30-odd. He's got a 3-year deal. For Arsenal, it doesn't make sense. It makes sense in that it's a stopgap, but, you know, you've given him a 3-year deal. You're going to get into a next position now where you're mismanaging wages now. Isolated, the William thing don't look bad, but, you know, we've been given renewals historically when there's been no need. El Nene, Giroud when he was here. Giroud, Coquelin, and I'm sure there was one more man that all three signed contracts fairly quick succession, and all fans were looking bewildered, like, what is the point of them signing new deals? Like, if we're not tying down players or we're not trying to protect value, it doesn't make sense. Like someone like Eddie Nketiah, contracted until 2022. We should be in discussions to renew his deal, because if a team ever bids, this could be the difference between 10 and 20 million. We're protecting our assets. You get it? Most other teams, Nketiah probably would have signed a new deal now. So I can't really see it happening. Of course, I would love Coutinho on loan. It would help us, people, really and truly. But I can't see it happening. And if I was Coutinho, I'd more be open to trying to break into that Barca team than coming to Arsenal and playing in the Europa League. I mean, it'll be quite a fall from grace. And I mean, many people laugh at Coutinho for making that move from Liverpool to Barcelona and it not working out. But I mean, you can't turn that down. It's what ifs. And who knows, if Liverpool might not be doing what they're doing now if they didn't get the Coutinho money. Liverpool fans can educate us on them matters there a bit more than us, people. Moving away from that, and I just wanted to mention quickly, people, literally very quickly, in relation to this Corona thing, it's getting a bit booky. Like, I can't begrudge any players I think it's at the player's discretion. If they want to return to training, I think they're legit in that. Don't want to play games, they're legit in that. If they don't, then you have to respect that, purely because if things go wrong, you know, it is what it is. People are losing their lives, people. And also, you getting it is one thing. The professional athletes getting it is one thing. But like you've heard with Kante, you know, he's got family members. Himself is at risk because of conditions. But he's got family members. Tammy, family members. A lot of people have listed that. So I understand it. And we know, obviously, the leagues just care about money. The Premier League only want to keep going because it's money. I'm not saying they want people to die and things, but it's clearly just for money. If there was any legitimate reasons, they would have locked this thing off time ago. But they didn't, people. And I do think, obviously, when you're testing thousands of footballers between the Premier League and the Championship and only 1 or 2, 3, 4 are coming back positive, obviously it's going to look decent. But this is where the issues start. I think at this moment in time, UK has the highest tally for this thing now, sort of thing. Just by looking at it, obviously, you remember a few weeks ago, three Brighton players have in total tested positive. Burnley's assistant manager, Ian Rowan, forgive me for mispronunciation, has tested positive. Obviously, Mariappa of Watford, along with 2 other staff members, tested positive. Hull have had 2 members of their playing staff as well. 2 people, from the Championship club, tested positive. Bournemouth's Aaron Ramsdale has tested positive. And, you know, there'll probably be a couple of other cases. And when we get going again, there'll probably be some more cases of such people. But we'll have to see what happens in that regards. But in relation to Coutinho, I can't see it happening, but I would love it to happen, people. But, yeah, I've got nothing more to say. Thank you for obviously listening and pursuing pursuing this video with me. Obviously, I hope that you obviously check out my other content. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. More importantly than that, people, please stay safe. Yeah, man. Apologies, I had to do this video again. I really hate when this happens because I don't think I've captured all my talking points and things I had to say. But it is what it is. Didn't want to do it again, but you know, you have to do what you have to do. On that note, though, people, DG.